Hello, hello, hello. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I am certainly trying to have a good day. Pardon me, little stuffy or whatever here, but nonetheless, having some coffee. What else? Well, I had a request from Joel Lopez for a load order, a mod load order video. The request was short. I think it said load order 2020 question mark or something like that. But nonetheless, I'm pretty sure they just wanted to see a mod load order. I will show you my mod load order. To go back through times past where people have been getting kind of crazy about this, I kind of do my own thing. I have looked at the other mod load order, we'll call them Bibles, and they're good and they have good tips, and I would suggest, because those people have probably checked out thousands or hundreds of more things than I have, over time. Certainly, if you want to follow their load orders, that's what you should do. However, I find that my load order strategy works fine for me. There have been times, as we know, that I have found mods that just did not work for me at all. I don't think those were necessarily totally bad mods, or that it was due to necessarily the way I did my load order. I think most likely I had a conflicting mod. Sometimes you don't know if you have a conflicting mod. Even looking at their load order guides, when you get a new mod, which I'm trying to look at new mods more than old mods, then you will most likely run into conflicts that haven't been documented, that no one really knows about yet. That's life. I mean, doesn't bother me. So those things don't worry me. But nonetheless, just saying. So let me I'm gonna do a quick run through here. Now, by the way, I do appreciate the requests I've gotten, and I have a few to do this week. I'm gonna try to do everything I can. Like I said, this was for Joel Lopez, and it's not going to be too long. I don't have too many mods here, and you're going to see a number of mods that are turned off because I'm waiting to either test them or do a show for them, or both. It depends. And for some of them I have turned off for other reasons, and I will explain that as well. So let me roll up to the top. Now, I always use the unofficial Skyrim special edition patch. I have seen where some people, say that's a pretty big patch to use, but it just has so many fixes and things in it that I like to have it. Now, one thing to note too, the reason I am doing this isn't a normal show load order, because at my shows, usually I try to reduce this a little bit more, but because I'm trying to do the Crom playthrough and get to level 25 to make a test, to do a test on that Dawnguard at 25, which is this one, this load order is actually more of a playing load order. Does it have everything in the world? No, but it has a lot of stuff that I like. Maybe not everything, but still. And I tried to be different than to do the load order I was doing before, so I didn't try to just copy that, because that would just be more of the same, and I figured, well, let's do something different. Alright, so we have Dawnguard. No, we have Dragonborn delayed, and this is just because it doesn't make sense for the Dragonborn to start when you're like level 8 or something. I don't remember. They come and attack you pretty early, and it's just too early. Same with Dawnguard, really. I usually use the one where it starts at level 40, because it makes more sense to me. This one will start when you kill Alduin, basically, when you return from Sovngarde. or Skulldolphin or whatever. Nonetheless, you get the idea. And then this one here, this one will start at 25. I usually use the one that starts at level 40 because it just made more sense to me. Pardon me just a moment, a little dry. Okay, so this is Cathedral Concept Lightweight Grass. I like this. I think it's I think the one bad thing is that I think it's still in work in progress. I wish they would get it out of there. It seems to work well for me, and I like it. You've probably seen me use it before. I may go back. There is a lighter weight, just like grass. It's like colors, grass colors that you can use, which is also really nice. But this one does have more variety, but of course it's bigger, so it depends on how much space you have. This is the grass fixes, of course. Pardon me. For all the grass mods I have found so far, that you do need the grass, the landscape fixes for grass mods. I'm not sure why. Pardon me, sorry. I'm still trying to choke up. For the smaller grass mods, I understand why you might need a fix. You know, for the larger ones like this, I kind of wonder why it doesn't take care of that itself, but it doesn't. So, Alright, so this is Cherry Blossoms. Cherry Blossoms turns your, what's these? Are these aspens? What are these? What's the name of these trees? Because right now, I am so sorry, I am drawing a blank. Aspens, yeah. Alright, so it changes, this changes your aspens to be more like cherry blossom trees, and it also adds some cherry blossom petals to the ground in places. Now, what I did I did kind of an odd placement here. I put it first, so it would change the vanilla game aspens, or at least however many it was going to. It says it will retexture all the aspen trees in the game. So I put it high here, so that it would grab all the vanilla ones and change them to be cherry blossoms. And then, for good variety, I put Gray's Dense Forest here, which adds a lot more aspens to the game. And these are not affected by the cherry blossoms. So this, like I say, I'm trying to make some variety, but still keep the same trees without causing, any real trouble. And then I use Divine Forest. Now let me see, does this not? Let me look. Divine Forest. Divine Forest, I think it just it tries to fill in some foresty areas that are not very populated. Doesn't have a lot of trees or anything. So it's really good. Now, then I also put in the Autumn of Whiterun, which adds aspens to the city of Whiterun. Makes it look very, very pretty, very autumn-like, very fall-like, which I like. I appreciate that. It looks nice. I left the one with the lanterns. You could do the one without the lanterns. That one lantern I think I showed you in a video I was doing the other day. John, what's his name? John, that's always leaning against the pole. He basically has a lantern post like right in front of him, which is ridiculous, but that's modding for you. So then we have enhanced lights and effects. I think you know what this does. It adds a lot of cool lighting effects in your game. It looks really nice. Cathedral Weathers and Seasons. I'm not using this to its fullest effect, but I am using this so that it makes my nights a little darker and they look a little better, and things like that. I think the winter seasons look a little colder, and I think it has some nice effects, and I'm trying to use that. And I have used this before. You've seen that before. I like it. Enhanced lights and effects, I think this is a little newer for me, though it's definitely not a new mod at all. You just may not have seen me use it much before, but I like it. This, of course, you've seen this. This is my favorite moon mod. It's very cool. This is display enhancements, which I still like to use, and at times I've turned off that saturation, but you know, my game just looks so much better with it turned on. I like it, giving it just a little extra saturation and a little contrast. And then free camera, I still find this is the best to use for some of those camera shots I want to get. So amazing follower tweaks. My home is your home. I think you're familiar with these follower mods. Taylor's measure. Now someone has given me a basically, what did they say? They said they knew something that they thought was better. It was music algorithm, and I am going to look at your suggestion, just so you know. Unique armors and weapons. This allows you to be able to craft a lot of these armors and weapons. Dark Brotherhood, Jester, Thief Armors, Nightingale Armor, Blade Armor and Sword, Storm Cloak, Storm Cloak Bear. Well, you get it. A lot of stuff here. Tullius's armor, Ulfric's armor. It's supposed to allow you to craft a lot of things like that. Let me think about this for a minute. Sijic, Thalmor, all the vampire armors. Anyway, it's a lot of stuff. It does add a lot of stuff. My only question would be Tullius and Ulfric's armor. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember if I saw those in my actual forging list. So I'm going to question those two. Though they might actually be there, and maybe I've forgotten, because it seems like I made Tullius's armor for somebody one time and had one of the girls run around in it. Anyway, then there's this is just no friendly fire for amazing follower tweaks, so your followers won't fight with each other all the time. This is free crafting. All the vanilla items in the game are basically free to craft. You don't need any perks and you don't need any materials. You can start your game out with like dragon plate armor if you want to. It's pretty cool. Craftable clothing. They tried to add all the clothing to the game so that it could be crafted at the tanning rack. So they do mention a couple of things that are crafted at the forge, but most of it's added to the tanning rack. No enchantment restrictions, unlimited enchantments. These are to help your enchanting and help you really overdo your enchanting and be really incredibly powerful. Superhuman jumping, because I like superhuman jumping. I want to be able to jump around and get to places easier. Magical College of Winterhold. This really makes Winterhold, the college, look a lot better. If you have a nice Winterhold town mod that will not interfere with this, that you can use them together, that's nice. Winterhold just looks like it looks like a horrible little village what's left. It just looks like it should be more, nonetheless. Unique bridges of Skyrim. I just like this. I like having the different bridges, and it seems to work. I don't seem to have any trouble with it. Now, if you do something weird like turn it off in the middle of a playthrough, you might get some glitchy stuff. It'll straighten itself out over time, but yeah, you might get some weird stuff. I did one time. I turned it off in the middle of a playthrough, and my Riverwood bridge was for some reason across the river and turned in a funky direction. But like I said, I was playing around with the game, with the mod mid-game, and it just created some issues, That was my fault, so. I like the red candles, so I have red candles. This is my favorite Breeze Home because it has everything you would need in it, and there's no load doors except for to get in and out of Breeze Home. That's it. Powerful torch. I like that mod just because it's a good powerful torch. Forgotten Dungeons. Easier Riders dungeon pack. These are just dungeons added to the game that I enjoy. Cheat room, of course, is a necessity. Goodies chest is just for me to have fun with, and it helps with some shows. Anymore, I don't play around with it as much as I did, though I'm tempted to go back and have some fun with it. But maybe I'll do some silly shows again when I get time, when I'm not working so much. Lamppost of Skyrim. I like this one. I know somebody complained that it was old, that it's not as up to date as something else. I haven't seen any real issues with it. So I like it and I use it. There are other options, yes, there definitely are. Nothing wrong with that. Use whichever option you would prefer. Crafting supplies. This adds some chests, containers around Whiterun that has all the crafting supplies you would want. This is where I load up my guys with crafting supplies, and you'll notice they have all the ingots, they have all the soul gems, they have all the, well, you can also get all the food you want, but they have all the ingredients for potions and stuff. That's what I use this for. It makes doing the shows a lot easier, but if you're doing a playthrough and you're like me, I don't want to level off my crafting. I want to level off playing the game, but I do want to be able to craft my stuff and outfit my dude as best I can, or dudette, whichever. Then this is perfect. I set my character in the cheat room so that they don't level off their crafting. I just max out their crafting, and I don't get any levels off of that. Then I just get levels off actually playing the game, fighting, and doing things like that. Of course, that means you start the game a little souped up, a little extra powerful, because everything's already maxed as far as your crafting, so you're going to make some really good gear. But as you level, the game is going to get tougher, because the game is going to catch up to you as you level. Riverwood Hideout. I was really impressed with this tiny, small idea. And if I wanted to play a guy where I was hiding out in the woods and just kind of being antisocial, I would probably use this. Even though it's close to Riverwood, Riverwood's a small enough town that you could be hiding out outside of Riverwood. It would still work. It would be nice to have another hideout similar to this somewhere else, because this hideout, there's no load door. It's just tucked away in a little spot. It's secluded, and it has everything you need, all the crafting and storage that you would need to play a character like that. So I liked it, so I kept it in the game. I brought it to this game thinking, well, I know right now I'm playing Crom and he doesn't need that, but if I change my mind and play someone else, I might have them use that. Alright, so this is work in progress mod 2. This is a like an 7 base O PPAI. It's just taking the vanilla armor and just fitting it to the body. It's not really, there's no skimpiness or anything like that. There's nothing special that it does, and it's still a work in progress. I don't see a lot of clipping issues or anything like they talk about. But then I've probably not checked everything out really. Well, I think I did a video on this once, and I didn't really see any severe problems like they mentioned. But then again, I think this modder has moved on to other things. I don't know if they're going to come back to this. Their original intent was they were going to come back and make it, or at least the impression they gave me originally was that they were going to make it maybe somewhat skimpy, or do something stylish, make us, I wouldn't mind seeing an armor replacer that, rather than just going like totally, which you can do skimpy and that's fun, there's nothing wrong with that, but instead of just going like totally skimpy or staying totally vanilla and doing fit, maybe an in-between idea where you try to restyle things and maybe even recolor things if possible, and maybe you find some line in between the two that looks cool but still is not super skimpy and is not just vanilla. just a thought. If anybody knows of anything like that, that would be interesting. Moving on, I'm probably rambling way too much with this, but hey, you asked for a load order video. I'm going to try to tell you why I'm using what I'm using, okay? Armored circlets, because I like being able to craft the circlets, and I like the fact that they can have an armor stat. I like to have the option of crafting Nocturnal's clothes if I want to. Even though I hardly ever use that anymore, I like to have the option, so that's what that's about. Improved blade stats. That just it improved. You know, the blades armor has always had very low stats, and that never made sense. The blades are supposed to be a strong group of fighters and supposed to have really excellent weapons and armor, and it never made sense that their stats should be so low. So I use this mod. Craftable Elven light armor, and also ebony mail. This just allows you to craft them at the forge, and they're not enchanted, so that you can craft them and then do what you want with them. It doesn't make sense that you would not be able to craft them anyway. So, well, the ebony mail is a special item, so I suppose that makes more sense because it was supposed to be a special item. So I guess it made sense that that wasn't craftable. But the Elven light armor kind of would have made more sense if we could craft it. Now there is another mod I don't have here in this game, but it's one I did look at recently. What did I do with that? Anyway, it was for the Nightingale Weapon. Well, there's this. This is really good. That's probably why I took it out, because you don't need both. Yeah, okay. Well, we won't talk about it then. It was something I thought was cool. All it does is it adds in ebony the ability to craft the Nightingale, just the vanilla Nightingale bow and sword. And I forget the name of it, but it's something like Craftable Nightingale or something like that. Hopefully I did a show on that. If not, I'll do one. It was a tiny mod, kind of like this, and it was worthwhile. Pardon me. Sorry, I'm going to have to drink something. Hold on. When I get to talking too much, it drives me out. So sorry about that. Anyway, as you know, this is Jade's armor, and this is just one of my little favorite armor sets. And the Stark armors I'm using probably on several people, like Cage and Thor. Yeah, though one of them, actually I might be using the King armor on one of them. Now this, I was using this on Crom. I think Hope has been using this lately. I decided to change it up and use the Asker Sandrine. It's a nice piratey looking outfit. It doesn't come with the cat head mask, whatever this person had their girl wearing. And then the Elven chainmail, I liked that because it gives you some nice varieties. And I think Vera is using one of the versions of this. It's really nice. Fancy bows. You might remember that I did a show on fancy bows. Morgan Helsing did a port of it. I did a show on it. And then too, I selected it as like my favorite weapon mod of the year, and then somebody else, since it's buried down in work in progress, and it's difficult to get to on your Xbox. Well, this one, they just did this one and popped it right out here. It's not in work in progress, which I'm very thankful for, and so I thought, I'll try it out and play around with it. It seems to be perfectly, wonderfully fine. Everything seems to be there and working. You'll probably see me using it off and on some when I'm testing and playing around. I don't remember if I did. My intent was to do a show on that, and right now I'm sorry, I am drawing a blank as to whether I did a show on it or not. I meant to, and then I was also going to use it playing around. So anyway, Katana Crafting. You might remember this. We did do a show on this in the past, and basically it allows you to craft some katana swords. Matter of fact, it's a katana, daikatana, wakizashi, we'll just call it that, and tanto in all of these. You can craft them in all of those crafting categories. And it's just nice. It just gives you some sword options, which I kind of appreciate. Because I like being able to have a katana, and the other swords are nice too when I want them. Nightingale Forever allows you to craft a cool Nightingale sword and a shield, which is very nice and very good to have. So I think let's see, I don't know, I think they're really nice because it adds this little Nightingale shield that's very cool. So let's see. Then we have the Game of Thrones shields. Those are just for fun. I like those. This is something I'm going to show. I'm going to do a show, whether it's a testing show or a actual spotlight. I'm going to do a show on that because I don't remember. I'm curious about what these are supposed to do. So I thought, we'll figure that out. I've done a show on the stealth suit and the Unbound bow. This is something that I decided to play around with and test some while I was playing Crom. I'm kind of doing, and the same goes for the Shadow Cloak Amulet, I'm kind of doing a test of, with this suit, you get the same effect as this amulet. Now think about that for just a moment. I can get the same effect with one piece or a whole suit. Now the difference in the mods are, this suit will be in Breezeholm. When you go to Breezeholm, it's in the chest. It's yours. You can just take it. Okay? But this will be in Helgen, in a pouch on a table at the very beginning. So they kind of outdid themselves when they did the Shadow Cloak Amulet. And you can break this one and take the enchant from the amulet and put it on any armor. So I really thought this was a cool idea, and I thought it was fun, and I did a show on it, and I played around with it. And then they went and they I don't know which came first really, but then somebody has made this, and this is great, and I did not look to see if it's the same author or anything, but so let's see, how can I say this? So I'm probably going to recommend and go with the Shadow Cloak Amulet from now on if you want to be able to use that type of invisibility. My only problem with it is that it still follows the invisibility rules, so that when you do anything, you lose your invisibility. The one thing I really miss from Oblivion in being able to play around and be invisible is the chameleon spell. You could make a suit in Oblivion using the chameleon enchant that would make you invisible all the time, and no matter what you did, it would not break the invisibility. You would be totally invisible, and you would be able to do anything, and you know, you would be invisible so nobody knew that was you, or whatever, however you want to say it. So anyway, so this is something I was playing around with, and you might notice me on Crom sneaking around a little more, trying that out. So there's times when I still don't sneak because I'm like, I don't want to sneak, but when I feel like it, you know, I'm doing that. So this was an experiment. I decided if I'm doing a different game, I would do another experiment. I really like the way the guys look with this Lynn's Skyrim NPC overhaul. Now the girls look good too, but really the best girl overhaul is still Botox. Now I'm using a lot of space in this, and if you don't care that much, you shouldn't do this, but I thought it would be a fun experiment. This way I get the guys looking really good like I want. They don't have the old dirty faces, and they don't look awful. And I still get the Botox girls, and so far from what I've seen, I've not seen any issue with it. These two actually, in this order, work. Now, so far, I've not seen every person in the game, so I warn you that we may find somebody who's a monstrosity, but I haven't seen it yet. So far, it's worked for me. The guys look good, and then the girls still look good. So this is just a weight adjustment from y'all. It doesn't make sense for y'all to be this, I don't know, this tall, skinny, weird-looking thing, but nonetheless, I had to kind of mess with her. Here is the Immersive Winches mods. Okay. Well, I call it's the Winches mods, okay? It starts with Immersive Winches. Now, this mainly adds women to your, adds like barmaids and servers to your town. Also adds a few vampires to your Halls of the Dead. And this is to each town. But it also allows for these enemy mods like Judgment Winches, Hateful Winches, and Deadly Winches. Wait, where's Forgotten Winches? No, there's Forgotten Winches. I was going to be sad. Anyway, the Winches mods. These mods add some stronger opponents to your dungeons and can affect people outside of your dungeons as well. Judgment Winches can basically be anywhere the Dwemer, automatons, or robots can be. They can spawn other additional enemies to fight with them. They have very special weapons and spells. I mean, this one is really the bigger mod, and it has a lot of stuff in it. Now, their appearance depends on your mods. Now, as you notice, I don't have any skimpy mods or anything like that going on right now, so they're not gonna be skimpy. They're gonna be, matter of fact, they're gonna use. Let me go up. They're gonna use the armor from my refit mod. Not my refit mod, but from this modder's refit. The one I'm using, and that's what they're going to use. They're going to rely on the replacer and stuff that you have, and they're going to rely on the body that you use. So they're also going to use the 7 base body I have. So how they look is going to depend on what mods you're using. So these mods have not changed in forever. Okay, I'm going to have to pause here for a moment, but through the power of editing, I will be right back. Just hold on just a moment. Alright, I am back. Sorry about that. So anyway, as I was saying, also the Winches mods, they're going to be affected by Botox. No, wait, are they affected by Botox? Let me think about this for a moment. Some of them will be affected by Botox. I forget now how this goes. Pardon me for a moment while I think this through. I don't think they're all affected by Botox. Now, it could be if I played around with my load order that I could get them to be affected by Botox, but I don't think these are all going to be affected by Botox, okay? But I think some of them will be. I'm not sure how or why it works that way. Or maybe none of these will be affected. And like I say, it's because of the mods I use and the order I use them in. I think, it's hard to remember now. It's been a while. I haven't been able to use this for a while. They just brought the Immersive Winches back here recently. Now, this Immersive Winches does not have the quest that the old one had. I kind of like the old one or the one we had before it was taken down that had the quests. I would also like to see some mods come back that would give us the Botox look on the winches. But I realize that would probably take the rest of my space. I have like 600 megabytes. It would probably take the rest of my space. Nonetheless, for the Winches mods, Judgment Winches, Hateful Winches, Deadly Winches, they're all pretty tough. They give you some very strong opponents in the dungeons, and in some places outside of the dungeons. Now, The worst of them all are the Forgotten Wenches that show up with the Falmer. Oh my goodness. Now you will get a book that will allow you to adjust the strength of some of these, especially the Forgotten Wenches. Unless you really want to fight a ton of bugs, I do suggest that you lower the spawn chance, but that's up to you. Try it at the default setting and see what I mean. You can go back and look at some of my old videos with Crom and some of my other characters. I mean, the bug fest, just the number of bugs you get is it's off the charts, and sometimes it will crash your game because it will spawn in so many. So that is something to be aware of too. If it spawns in, I don't know, 30, 40 bugs in one place, yeah, it could crash your game. So it is something to think about. But you can test it and see what you think for yourself. So let me back up. So the other people mods that I have here, I like to use Ashara merchants and traders in inns. I think it's very good. It adds 2 merchants and trainers, Xenia and Bjorn. They're going to be in almost every inn in Skyrim, and she buys a lot of stuff and is a master trainer. She doesn't sell anything. Now Bjorn sells stuff. What does he sell? He sells all the skill books, alchemy ingredients, and metal ingots available in the game, and also all the ingredients available in all 3 DLCs. Now, I'm not sure if he sells all of that all the time, or if you just have to hit him up, and sometimes he has it and sometimes not. I don't really remember, but you can definitely check it out. I don't use him very much. I really like to have Xenia, the girl there. She has all this money, usually about 30,000 gold, because she can usually buy most anything I have. Alright, so now, then we have, this is the Genesis mod that helps increase dungeon population. And what it will do, it's very cool. When you've gone through a dungeon and cleared it out, sometimes it will repopulate it, like right away. Now, not always, not every time, but sometimes you'll go through a dungeon, you'll get down to the bottom of the dungeon. Let's say it's 3 levels, and you go level 1, you kill them all. Level 2, you kill them all. You go to level 3, you beat the boss or whatever. But it's one of those dungeons where now you got to come back out, and when you go back into level 2 or maybe level 1, suddenly that level is repopulated with bandits or something. And you'll be like, okay, now I gotta fight my way out. I think it's fun. It doesn't always happen. Now, and other things it does, let me see if I can read this here real fast. It provides populated dungeons on the fly. These are only the vanilla dungeons. I don't think it will work with, it says all 214 Skyrim locations are included. I can't remember if it affects my Forgotten Dungeons and stuff. I think it may actually cause that to repop too. Randomly generate hostile population for dungeons for immersive unpredictability. Right. Sometimes when you come back to what you think is an empty, cleared dungeon, it will repopulate. Repopulate frequency of cleared dungeons can be set in the book menu. That's right, they give you a book with a menu. So actually you can set that to do whatever you want. Now the mod will not populate dungeons already containing NPCs. You can override that with the book menu, but probably shouldn't. You probably don't want to accidentally mess up your quests. And the book menu gives you a lot of options. So populated dungeons and caves, this is from, I think, the same team. Is it the same team? No, maybe not. Anyway, this just adds about 300 vanilla enemies, mainly skeletons, vampires, draugrs, farmers, etc., to about 50 different locations. It says interior and some exterior locations to Skyrim. So it's just to add some fun and some enemies. Then the Genesis surface spawns. This will cause enemies to spawn as you travel around Skyrim, because this is on the exterior. You'll be going down the road and maybe some bandits will spawn in. If it's nighttime, you might get some vampires, you might get some who's the creepy skeleton men, you might get the black skeleton men. I can't think of their name right now. Anyway, you might get various different things like that spawn in. Even bugs, farmer bugs and stuff can spawn in. Though it's usually, I don't think it's usually them, but it can vary depending on the time of day and where you are. So it's pretty interesting, and it's a small mod, and it's been working for me if you've watched any of Crom's playthrough. These are some followers. Tori's one of my favorites. Haven't tried these, but I wanted to try them, so that's why they're here. Shaw's been one of my favorites, and I like the Jarl Elisif because I use a replacer to make her look like Takata, which is cool. Then I have my KS Hairdos. This is just for those people who... There's always some people in the game that have vanilla hair because of the way I handle my mods. So this is just to make their hair look a little better. This is just a light definitive beauty pack because it just helps my people look a little better, the girls look a little better. This is the green girl preset and the better male presets. This is the body I've decided to use again for a while. And this is just the mesh only with the chainmail underwear. I haven't tried this out. I want to try out the Eyes of Beauty. I haven't done that yet. Still using natural eyes. I have tempered skins for males and the body that comes with that. I have the Beauties of Skyrim. These are skin textures mainly. Now this one does come with a body. This does not. These are skin textures. Then I get into what I consider my normal textures. And really I just do divine creatures, the creatures pack. Now I did do the divine texture pack for trees, and one of the things it does is it also helps, see if I can find it. Yeah, it also helps do some aspen trees. And it I was thinking that this added some more variety for the aspens as well, some slightly different colors. Well, anyway, nonetheless, okay, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just to help improve the look of the trees. So there you go. These are some flowers and mushrooms. I think these look really nice, so I like this little texture pack. Divine wolves, it's just to help make the wolves look a little better. You know, if you're always fighting these same ugly looking wolves, you know, this just helps make them look better. Cathedral Water overhaul. This is my favorite water overhaul. It's not very large, and it seems to really do a wonderful job. Now, normally I would have had Skyland all in one as my big texture up here, but it does contain a watercolor that goes with this, and it also contains a lot of other things. And let's see, I think it says to put it below a lot of your other textures. Let me find. So you just put this mod below, like your water mod. Let's see, place any retexture mods and mods that have water. Yeah, so you place this below any any mods that have water or other things that might affect it. Okay. It doesn't retexture. I think somebody was saying it doesn't really retexture like everything in the game. I think they were saying it didn't affect Dawnguard. And you know what? I don't see anything here that tells me that it does affect Dawnguard, so they are probably absolutely correct. And I didn't really think that much about it. This affects nearly everything in the game. It says it includes all landscape textures, including Dragonborn and Skyland Verdant grass mods landscape textures. It doesn't seem to override my grass mod though, so I think it just has some different textures that it uses. Anyway, so then I do know that blended roads in the past has been known to affect my quality map, so I put my map below that. So that's how I do my textures. It's kind of a weird thing. These are a couple of things I'm thinking about playing around with again, but I may not need them. I found something else. Somebody put out a new mod that might do what these do all in one. So I used to use the vanity kit, but I found that it was generating or causing the speckled or fruity pebbles face on some characters. Excuse me. One of the people for sure that was being affected by it is the vampire in the Blue Palace, the vampire mage, and I can't remember her name right now, but when I use this mod, she always has that problem. And the minute I turn this mod off, she doesn't. There's also a couple other mods I found that do the same thing, but this was another guilty party type of thing. This one I haven't tried it all, and I thought I would try it just to see what it adds. So I still may do that, but I haven't done that yet. This is my favorite Sorana Replacer. Also replaces Valerica, if I remember correctly. This is the Elisif Replacer that makes her look like Takata that I like. Uthgard is always a problem. She always looks weird and ugly and strange, and this is the best makeover I can find for her. She looks the best. If anybody knows of something better, let me know, but I didn't like Bidgen's either. The Bidgen Uthgard is still pretty horrible looking, and same for Mjall. Mjall this is the best Mjall makeover I can find for my taste. Now it depends on what you like, but I did not like Bidgen's Mjall either. So, and then there's alternate start, of course. I use that. There's the XP32. You just always use the skeleton. You don't have to use the animations. You don't have to use any of that other stuff if you don't want it. But if you use the skeleton, then you can almost always use anything that has those settings on it. And if you don't have the animations, you just won't have the animation, but you'll be able to use the armor and you just won't get that animation, which is fine. You know what I mean? It just allows you to be able to use those armors, and you just won't get the animation if you don't want it. If you want the animation, then yeah, you want the animation, and I have that here because I like to be able to see what has the animation, what doesn't, if it's working. And then this, we just did this recently. This just shows if the hair lays down on the chest and the chest moves, the hair will move with the chest. Okay. Aesthetic elves, I haven't been using that lately, but I do like to use it if I have an elf that I want to do, a female elf. So I have it here and available, but I really haven't been using it. R246, now this is the newest R246, and it's really good, and the reason I don't have it turned on is that I was not playing Vera. Vera is the only new character I've created with the new R246 mod. So I only turn it on for her right now. And I'll do a little funny thing maybe at the end of this video and show you why. And by the way, it's a great mod. It ties up, it includes everything from the two previous R246 mods. It's really great. I really like it, and I probably should just go back and fix all my characters so that I can just have it on all the time, but I haven't done that yet. So so the color patches remover, this is some horrible workaround they had to do to try to get rid of these color patches that occur. So that's all I can say about that. Lifelike idols. Right now I'm using lifelike idols just for fun. I do that occasionally. I'll switch it up and use it just for fun. So female orcs use female animations. That's so the female orcs will walk like a female and not walk around like a male. That's really all it is. They will have the same walk as every other female in the game. Leave my eyes alone, AFT. This is, for some reason, something in AFT will affect your vampire follower eyes, and it's really weird. So this just prevents that from happening. And I've actually done, I think I actually did a show or a testing show on that and showed that. Now this is a patch just for the Magical College of Winterhold, since I'm using EOFX. I think it's really, really nice. This is the Skyland all-in-one road patch. It just fixes the road. Where do they say the road problem is? Is it out towards Markarth or the Reach? This is in the Reach, okay. Currently this fixes the smooth, shiny roads in the Reach and water issues. I don't know what water issues, but okay. More females. This mod just helps fill out the list of NPCs with more females. You're not going to get all females, but it does do more females. I think there might be something similar built into one of the, might be in this. There might be something similar built into the Deadly Winches mod. Adds to female unisex NPC level list more available females for a variety in different factions. So this also is going to do something similar, but I just went ahead and included that down at the bottom. So did I mention all these winches mods require the immersive winches? I meant to mention that. You can't use these enemy mods without the immersive winches, so that's why you have to have them all together. That's why I have them all together, and that's why you have to use them together if you're going to use the enemy mods. Okay, so then we have rich merchants in Skyrim. All this does is it gives the extremely low vanilla merchant 10,000 gold for every merchant in the game. Now, there are still a few merchants that actually do not have 10,000 gold, but by and large, this works on like 90%. I think hunters still don't, and I think there's a few other random merchants that don't. But other than that, everybody will have at least 10,000. If you pair this with these Ashara merchants, then you shouldn't have any trouble selling most of your goods all the time. Because Xenia is going to have 30,000. Most of the other vendors are going to have 10,000. You can get your stuff sold and make some good money. So, alright, so that is my load order now, and I explained what I was using everything for, and I'm sorry, I've probably been way too long-winded. But, you know, you requested it, and it's something that's easy to do, and I thought I would just do it while I was having my coffee. A few of these things are here for some shows that I'm going to be doing, and then some of these things like the fancy bows and stuff. I think I already did a show on that, and I was just saving it so that I could use it on Chrome if I wanted to for fun. Alright, is there anything else? A quick review to see if I missed anything or didn't mention anything that I meant to. I don't see anything. I think I tried to mention most of this. Now you'll notice most of the times I have kind of a logical thought where I do replacers and then I do things that add things like I'll show you what I mean in just a second. And you could do it the other way around, and I don't think it would. Most times it probably would not hurt anything. But like for armors, I do like my armor replacers. And then after I get done doing any replacing, then I do the additions. Now for armors and weapons especially, this works really just fine. There's some variation. Okay, and I like to do that also with places and things in the world, where I try to do the replacers first, replacing the college and the bridges and these things, and then do the additions like the Forgotten Dungeons. The cheat room is technically, it's a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I basically treat it as an addition to the game. It does add a space to the game, even though that space is not really connected to the rest of the world. And it does add a lot of vanilla things that you can get into, and it gives you the capability to do some things. But obviously those things that you can do in the cheat room, they're there so that the developers could do a lot of testing and playing around with things. So these functions, I think most of these functions are a part of the game. I don't think they're really huge additions to the game, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so and then these other add-ons like this goodies chest, it just adds a chest with some stuff. Lampposts, that's just being added, and crafting supplies are being added, and this Riverwood hideout is added to the world. Now it does make a little change in that area, I think, but I treat it as an addition. Maybe I should treat it as a change, because it does change that area. I may have to rethink that, but nonetheless, you get the idea. I try to do my replacers and then the additions. The reasoning that I had for that was I thought if we replace things first and then add stuff, whatever the added things need to update, they can update and they will win out if there's some minor overlap. Now if there's major overlaps or big edits going on, you're probably not going to be able to use two things that edit the same stuff. So just be aware of that. But that was anyway my way of thinking of things. Some of these other placements are tricksy. The trees, what I did here, I thought about this. I could have put the cherry blossoms further down, and I think it would have affected all of these trees, but I don't want it to affect all of those trees. I just wanted it to affect some of the trees, so I put it up high, so it wouldn't affect everything. But it does get in, and I think you'll even see cherry blossom trees in Whiterun, but they won't all be cherry blossoms. So nonetheless, that is my load order. I've probably droned on long enough, my goodness. So thank you so much for watching, and y'all have a wonderful day, and I will catch you later.